Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another video. We are here to wrap up every single book I've read so far in the first quarter of 2023. How are we in the second quarter already? It baffles my brain, but we have entered the second phase of 2023, so I wanted to sit down and wrap up all the books I've read so far in 2023. That is 16 books. So I've read 16 books so far this year. Goodreads has told me I'm 4 books ahead of my Goodreads goal, which is 50 books. Fingers crossed it can stay that way. I'd love to continue to be ahead of it. I would love to reach more than 50 books, but I always just keep 50 books as a flat kind of like rate to make sure that I just always kind of read 1 book a week at least. 9 of those 16 books were off my physical TBR. 5 were from Scribd and 2 were library loans. And because this year I've started using Corpile again to track my reading, I have some fun graphs and pie charts to show you for the next portion of stats. 35% of the books I read were physical reads, 30% being audiobooks, and 20% being ebooks. And then 15% of that pie chart is mixed media, so where I listen to the book whilst reading along with it, i.e. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo I did that with, and it was a really fun experience. I've read across 6 different genres, 25 being romance, 45% being contemporary, 15% being mystery, 5 in historical fiction, which is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I find it really hard to place that book. It's a contemporary because it's kind of set in modern day, but then also it flashes back, so therefore it's historical. But also it's a romance. Like, where do you place that book? I think it's uncategorizable, but I put it in historical fiction. 5 non-fiction and 5% sci-fi. I think that's 1 book I read in sci-fi, and that is Tom Fletcher's most recent middle grade book, which was Spaceband. So all of those stats span across 65% being adult. I love just every year my adult ratio just being higher and higher and higher. It's definitely the phase of my life that I'm in right now. 30% being YA and 5% being middle grade. I rated an equal amount of 3 and 4 stars so far this year at 31.3%. I rated 25% 5 stars and only 12.5% 2 stars, and I haven't had any 1 stars yet. I rarely ever have 1 stars because if it's feeling like a 1-star book, I will just DNF it. Therefore, my average rating is a 3.6 so far this year. If I can like increase it ever so slightly and get some more 4s and 5 stars, that would be great, manifesting it. So let's quickly go through all the books I've read so far this year. I won't be giving synopses or anything, just the title, the author and the ratings, because I do have wrap-ups for the last 2 months. I'll link them down below. So my February wrap-up and my March wrap-up where I go into more depth. The first book I started off with the year is Spaceband by Tom Fletcher. This is a sci-fi middle grade book. Gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it. I then read Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA contemporary book, which I gave it 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. One of my favourite books of the year so far. Hint to a, wow, that makes my lighting horrendous. Hint to a video that I'm doing in the next couple of weeks. Then I read and listened to The Girls Are Good by Ilara Bernardini, and I gave this one 2 stars, one of the worst books I've read so far this year. I then read Influential by Amira Sage, which is a library loan. This is a YA contemporary book, which I gave a 3 stars. I then listened to I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette Mankurdi, which I gave 5 stars. I don't usually rate non-fiction memoirs, but for some reason this book just had a hold on me, and I just had to rate it 5 stars. I was compelled. I really enjoyed this one of the best memoirs I've read so far in my lifespan. I haven't read many this year. I'm hoping to read some more. I then listened to The King is Dead by Benjamin Dean. This is a YA murder mystery, and I gave it a 4 stars. I then read Grown Ups by Marion Keyes, which is an adult contemporary book, which I gave a 3 stars. I then read Little Lion by Brandy Colbert, which I gave a 3 stars. This is a YA contemporary. I then listened to Counterfeit by Kristen Chen. This is a adult kind of murder mystery contemporary about fake handbags. I gave this a 2 stars. I then read The Bread the Devil Need by Lisa Allen Agostini, which I gave a 3 stars. Then I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and I gave it a 5 stars, a new favourite, yay. This is a adult romance. I then read, finally, the most hyped book, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave it 4.5 stars. This is, like I said before, a uncategorizable book. Romance, contemporary, historical fiction, adult book. I then read from the library The Stand-In by Lily Chu. This is a adult romance contemporary. I then listened to XOXO by Axie O, and I gave this a 3 stars. This is a YA contemporary. I then listened to 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, which is a YA murder mystery, and I gave this a 3 stars. But on Corpart it came out to a 4, so I'm going to say a 3.5. And then I reread one of my favourites, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, which I once again gave a 5 stars. It's a reread my favourite book of 2021 this was, so I gave it a reread and tabbed it up, and I started properly annotating. This is the first book I've properly started annotating, as in like pen touching paper rather than pencil, and I'm having a really fun time going back and just annotating the tabs I made when I was reading this. And then the two books I'm currently in the middle of and hoping to finish soon: The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which is a adult contemporary romance, and Adulting by Liz Talley, which is an adult contemporary. Out of all the books I've read so far this year that were in my physical possession prior to the year starting, I am unhauling 4 of those: The Bread the Devil Need by Lisa Allen Agostini, Little Lion by Brandy Colbert, Grown Ups by Marion Keyes, and The Girls Are Good by Alani Bernardini. So those are the 4 books that I'm unhauling, and these are the 5 books that I got in my personal possession and I'm keeping in my personal possession. The longest book I've read so far this year at 632 pages is Grown Ups by Marion Keyes. The shortest book that I've read so far this year is The Girls Are Good by Aralini Bernardini. Tongue twister. So 2 books I'm unhauling were my longest and shortest book of the year so far. Oh, this one was 201 pages. The highest rated book on Goodreads I've read so far this year is, unsurprisingly, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. When I googled this, I was pretty shocked at the number, but over 2 million people have rated this book on Goodreads. But the lowest rated book that I read so far this year, according to Goodreads, is The Girls Are Good. This only has 412 reviews, so a very, very vast difference. I wonder why I don't recommend this book if you couldn't guess it by the 2 stars and the unhaul situation. And once again, a repeating pattern. The worst book I've read so far this year, The Girls Are Good. And the best book I've read so far, not including rereads, The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I just love this book. It was like just what I needed at the right time. And the audiobook was really good as well. I picked this book up after I listened to the audiobook, so I did first read this book via audiobook, and then I was like, oh my god, I loved it so much, I need a physical copy. So I went out and bought a physical copy. This book is so good. It's the one, I have read some really good books this year, like Grown. Obviously my reread of Love Hypothesis. Grown was really good. And then also I have obviously really enjoyed Evelyn Hugo. But in terms of like a book that stuck with me and I constantly think about, The Dead Romantics. My camera battery is dying, so that's perfect timing. I really hope you enjoyed this video and seeing all the stats from the books I've read so far this year. Let me know what stats you have down in the comments. What's your best book? What's your worst book of the year so far? I'd love to know. Now that we're at the end of Q1, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below to see future content from me. And without further ado, I'll see you in my next video. Bye. My camera battery's dying. I need to go get a thumbnail.